All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 19 of the RUDIS Wrestling Podcast. Matt, we got a bunch more wrestling to talk about this week. Anything else you want to fill us in on going on at RUDIS? I know the Christmas season's coming up.
Oh man, the Christmas season's been crazy. I think I was just telling you, we thought that Black Friday and Cyber Monday was going to be chaotic, but we've actually continued to steadily uptick in our business. So that's a good thing. And I think some of the people calling in, they're kind of stressed about getting stuff this late in the game for Christmas, but I don't know if we can get it there by now once we post this episode, but I know we're doing I know we're efforting with our shipping.
You need to get some of those drones and just drop it off on their front porch.
I know.
That's where it's at.
That's the next that's the wave of the future, right? The drone drop ship.
It's it's scary, but yeah, I think it probably likely is the future. Let's get into the UNI Cornell duel, because I thought this was a lot of fun. I thought there was a lot of good matches in this one. I didn't even realize it until I started looking into it, and then I was like, oh crap! Initially I turned it on to watch the return of Yianni. And then I was like, oh, Aruja at 25. Oh, Womack Lujan. Oh, Foster Dean, and I just started watching more and more of the matches. Turned out to be a really awesome duel. West Gym, have you ever been to West Gym, Matt?
I never have.
It's a great environment. It's awesome.
I mean, it looked like it's almost like an ideal wrestling facility when you're looking for like a 2,000.
Yeah, exactly. I guess it seats about 2,000. But you know what? I took my dual team to a youth dual team to a duel. I think it was in Waverly or somewhere around, close to Cedar Falls. And I remember we were eating dinner, and I was kind of like, I saw a Mizzou tweet, oh, we're starting in 30 minutes at West Gym. And I'm like, all right, everybody get in the van now. And we drove over there. I think we were like the last people that they let into the building. And it was freaking packed to the rafters. And it's like this really small enclosed space. So it gets so loud. And obviously, I was cheering for the away team on that one. But it was a lot of fun watching how intense that dual meet was in that environment. So yeah, I feel like I've been almost everywhere, and that would be for me one of the better places to wrestle a dual meet in.
Yeah, I never got to wrestle at the West Gym, but growing up, when I was coming through, when my brothers and I were coming through, Junior Nationals was always held out in the Unidome. So I have competed out there. They did, when I was coaching, they did host the national duels out there. Did you wrestle at the national duels?
I did. Yeah. Yep. It was at UNI every single year. I wrestled there.
So I've been there a number of times to compete, but I haven't been to the West Gym. But it seems like, one of the better wrestling venues in the country.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously it can't compete with, say, a Rec Hall, which you talked about yesterday, or a Carver Hawkeye. But, even like, I don't want to pick on Mizzou because I love Mizzou, and I'll pick on Wisconsin too. But, they both have large venues. And even if you get, if Mizzou gets 3,000 or 4,000, that's a solid crowd for a wrestling match, it doesn't feel that full. Yeah. It doesn't feel. And so West Gym, I don't know the attendance. I would guess 2,000-ish, somewhere in there. And man, like I said, it just feels full. It feels packed. It feels full of energy. And there's just something about that that you don't really get in the larger gyms, except obviously, a Rec Hall is only 6,000 maybe. So it's not super huge.
Just over 6, just under 7 actually. But, they're maxing out with what they got. And sometimes those can be as equal as in some ways to like the bigger venues, like Penn State. They don't have, the capacity like Rec Hall, but what they do with what they've got is pretty formidable and definitely creates a home field environment. And yeah, what Doug Schwab is doing out there at UNI, his brand of wrestling is very exciting. His guys get after it. I love watching them compete. Yeah,
and obviously, I don't want to say belittle them or pick them, but it is hard for those, UNI, who's the third, essentially the third program in Iowa, and a smaller school. I don't know if I want to say he's maxing out, Matt. I don't know if that's fair terminology, but he's doing a lot with what he has, with where he's at. He's been doing a really good job, and you know, I would, man, if Northern Iowa was able to jump into that top 5 contention, I'd be really impressed. But I just think that it's a kind of a tough thing to do at a smaller school.
It really is, especially in the state of Iowa. You have to think, you know, when you walk into any house or you walk into any gym in Iowa, you know, you're probably thinking Hawkeyes first, Cyclones second, and you know, I'm sure that's a fight that they've got to engage in every day. It's like, this is, you know, we've got to beat the people in our state who are formidable to begin with, you know, and not only competing against them, but then, you know, all the other colleges that are coming into the state of Iowa and recruiting the athletes. But yeah, I mean, Doug's getting his share of guys, and you know, I mean, they potentially could have, it looks like, 3 All-Americans this year, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Foster, Lujan, Alber. So Matt, you know, the 49-pounder who I'm blanking on his name, I'm gonna look it up here. He's also the other guy we're forgetting about, who is I don't actually know where he's at right now, Matt, but Jacob Holschlag, who was an All-American at 197 last year. You know, he I believe he's coming back at some point. I think he's pretty young, so I know he has some time left. Max Thompson at 149 would be there. So I mean, Matt, that's looking like they could get 5. They have 5 guys who I would say are going to be in contention or will All-American this year. That's really, you know, really good, tough team.
And they've got, you know, potential qualifiers in a number of other weights too, that if you put 3 guys on the podium, you get a couple other guys winning 1 or 2 matches at the national tournament, all of a sudden that's a good recipe for a top 15, possibly a top 10 finish. So
yeah, I mean, if they could get, let's see, was Albert an All-American last year? He was not.
I believe the year before, though. Was he the year before?
Does not appear that way. No, but he's been 2nd at Midlands, 3rd at the Scuffle, 2nd at Vegas. So, you know, he's had a very, very good career. Holstog was an All-American. I know Lujan was rounded 12 twice. I know Thompson was an All-American. So, yeah. And Drew Foster, I believe, was an All-American.
Yeah. And for a number of these guys at 74 and 84 on both sides of the table, I think they've wrestled against each other at least 3 to 4 times. So there was a lot of familiarity in the duel. It's one of those duels you don't think there's going to be any tradition there or any past history. But I know at 74 and 84, I know they mentioned that these guys had wrestled 3 or 4 times in the past year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think they're both at CKLV and maybe the South Beach Jewels or Southern Scuffle. So let's get into these matches. Yianni versus Alber. Damn, Yianni looked good. First match back, I thought he looked fantastic. If he's got another 3 seconds, he's probably gonna get the fall there. He locked up that cradle off the single leg at the end. Man, doesn't look like he missed a beat. Great on bottom, great on top, great on his feet. Good re-attacks, good offense. Man, can I say any more good things about him?
Yeah, just good Yianni. I mean, he's dynamic everywhere. I mean, we talked, you know, in the past couple episodes about guys just being solid in every position. This guy is spectacular
everywhere.
In all 3 positions. I mean, he's just good everywhere. I mean, he's just fun to watch in every single position. And I don't know what the answer is for him. I keep trying to pick out some weaknesses when I look at him, and I just don't see many.
Yeah, and you know, Alber's a number 10 guy, so it's not like Yianni's coming back against a bum and making it easy. That's a good, tough opponent. And I think we're gonna get to see Yianni Ironman at the South Beach Duels again. That should be a treat for us. And hey, am I getting a little too far ahead? I said I think Yianni can compete for the spot in 2020 for the Olympic team. Am I talking crazy?
No, it was funny. Jesse and I were having that conversation yesterday about make your picks for 65. Who do you think it's going to be? And I said Yanni's definitely going to be in the hunt. You know, I mean, there's there's a lot of seasoned guys that with a lot of experience and a lot of credentials, even on the international level. But I really think in 2 years, if he can stay healthy. I mean, that was
if he can stay healthy. Yes.
Yeah, that was one of my qualifying statements. If he can stay healthy for the next 2 years and keep progressing and keep growing, he's definitely going to be in the mix. There's without a doubt.
Yeah, because he's obviously a freestyle success. He won a cadet world title. That must have been 15 or 16. It was a while back, and then he also made a junior world team. So yeah, that's gonna be fun to watch him progress. Okay, so let's get your take on Aruja at 125. You know what's funny about this, Matt? Usually, you and I are really in tune to the rest of me. We hear whispers of this coming, but I don't think I really heard about anyone talking about this happening. Did you?
No, not really, because number one, I think everybody assumed. I think Vito, what he wrestled 32 or 38 his senior year. So
yeah,
and that was 2 years ago. He took his gray shirt year last year, so I think it was the natural assumption that he would come in and jump right in at 33. I think, if anything, there was actually discussion in the offseason, would Yianni move up to 49 and Vito jump up to 41? So I don't think there was even any discussion, any consideration. And then the third thing is, I don't think there was even any talk that Vito had actually certified down at 25.
I don't remember hearing that at all. But obviously the problem for Cornell was that they already have a really good 33-pounder. His name's Chaz Tucker.
Chaz Tucker.
And he beat Vito in a duel, or maybe it was an open tournament this year. Which
was it at the Binghamton?
I believe it was the Binghamton Open.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's what I saw. I was impressed. I didn't know what to expect of Vito. Jay Schwarm, NCAA qualifier. I thought he was ranked a little higher, but he's fairly low in the rankings. But tough guy. Not a pushover. And Vito
and a dangerous guy too.
Yeah,
on top. Yianni got in a bit of trouble in the second period in a couple situations.
Vito,
just because Vito did, and it was largely to do with Schwarm putting him in bad situations. And I think naturally Vito probably assumed he was going to wrestle through those situations, and that this guy was a little bit trickier than he thought he would be. But yeah, I was really
I
impressed.
I don't feel like Vito really got in any trouble there. Schwarm I think he got the reversal and maybe almost got back points, but did not get back points. But I thought
he did. I thought he got a 2 and 2.
Schwarm, maybe he did. Yes. Maybe he did. Maybe he got 2 and 2. If it was close.
In the first initial scramble on top and bottom, I think he got a 2 and 2.
Oh, no, I think you might be right.
And then it was close again the second time on the second reversal. Yeah. But he didn't give up back points. But
I like the fact that Vito was able to, even when he did get reversed, he was able to get off bottom. He did some really good things on top. He did get sloppy and get reversed a couple times. But the other thing that I really liked is that he wrestled with a lot of energy the entire match. And usually especially when you see someone making 120, a new weight class for the first time, to our knowledge, he had, maybe they made him make it in practice or something, but he hasn't been down this low before. Man, you usually see a significant drop off late in the second and the third period, energy wise. And we just didn't get that at all from Vito. He wrestled. I think he scored the most points in the third period, actually. He looked great.
He did. I mean, my takeaway was exactly the same. I was impressed. I was like you. I thought, okay, he's down to weight. Obviously, he can make the weight. Now, how's he going to be able to compete? Not just, obviously he's probably going to come out there in the first period feeling good, but then you would naturally assume he would start feeling it in the second and third, especially after he got reversed. I'm like, okay, let's see what he's got here. Is he going to hang out for a while? Is he going to try and gather himself? Is he going to kind of conserve energy? But he just kept wrestling through each situation.
Yes.
And then to your point, in the third period, he just kept firing off leg attacks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sure some people will say, well, he probably benefited from, being the last match or the second last match of the duel. But really,
That's
I mean,
not.
what are you talking about? That's
Yeah,
only 2 hours of recovery. I mean,
it's
you
not that
normally get
much.
1 hour. He's had 2, but yeah, getting down, turning around in 2 hours and competing against a nationally competitive kid, a top 20-ish type kid, and, you know, scoring the number of points he scored. I mean, man, if he can continue to manage his weight properly over the next 3 months, I mean, he is going to be a handful. I mean,
I agree. I
he
mean,
is
because
long.
what we've seen at 25, and so as I'm looking at their schedule, he's not really going to see any of the top 25 pounders anytime soon. I mean, I guess he's got Patrick Glory. That's all the way. That's way far away. But we had Suriano move up. We had other guys move up, and it's 25 pounds. Kind of like it doesn't have the stars that it did, say, last year or 2 years ago. And Vito Arujau is someone who's always had success, made world teams. Like, that's a guy that he definitely has the skills. If he has the discipline with his weight, I could see him sneaking up pretty damn high in this weight class. I mean, honestly, even when I think about him versus, say, a Ronnie Bresser or Nick Piccinini, if you told me that Vito Arujau beat one of those guys, I'm not like, no way, you're crazy, Matt. I think, like, hey, that's probably within the realm of possibilities. So
no, without a doubt. I mean, we've been talking about this guy several times in the last several podcasts, and that's Roman Bravo Young. We're both very, very impressed with him. But I think what people fail to remember is Vito put it on him.
Oh, I didn't even remember that until you said that, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, he put it on him. Best 2 out of 3 too. So
yeah, you were talking about
one match.
UWW cadets.
Yes.
Wasn't it? Yeah, you're right. I blanked on that one. Yeah, good call, Matt. Damn, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he knocks off a Piccinini or one of the top guys. I think, would it be a stretch to say he could compete with Spencer Lee? I mean, nobody's really competing with that guy right now.
Yeah, and when we talked about body types with Spencer Lee too. It's like Vito's got to keep his wrist off his hip bone. That's gonna be a tough task for Vito. I mean,
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, the one thing that Cornell has shown and has proven year after year after year, they get better as the season goes. And I thought they looked good. I thought Vito looked very good here. So if history holds true, I think we're going to see better versions of this entire Cornell team, and definitely the best is yet to come from Vito Arujau.
Okay. Well, I will agree with that. So let's go Lujan, Womack, and I would say this is a guy who I feel, if we're talking about, you kind of talk about how good Cornell, we kind of give them a lot of props. Womack didn't look very good at all. Lujan put it on him really in every facet of it. And, Womack is one of those guys who I almost feel like he's pretty damn sneaky. He's got a lot of the Dylan Palacio type tricks. And it's almost like people have kind of figured out what his gimmick is. And, he's not having near the amount of success he did previously.
Yeah, I mean, 2 years ago, he was an All-American at 165. And I think he was one of those guys. I don't think he was the guy for the lion's share of the season, or maybe he was in and out of the lineup. I think they were trying to figure out, what their best lineup was. Womack at the end of the season was the starter for the postseason and had a nice run at EWLs or EIWAs and the NCAA tournament, placing. What did he place?
Well, it was NCAAs or John J. Chavez. Yeah. Womack was 8th. No.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, so I think then last year he moved up to 174. And I don't think it's a sizing thing. I think he's a decent sized 74-pounder. But to your point, I think people kind of he's had a lap around the track. A lot of people have seen him. A lot of people have started wrestling multiple times. And I think you're right.
Yeah, he uses that back hook position a lot, Matt. If you watch his match against Lujan, he does it. He does that back hook from underneath, and he hunts for the wrist to try to hit some type of Peterson. And it's just like that position is not a great position to Peterson from. you might sneak one or two in on people when they don't realize it's coming. But if someone knows you're going to pierce them from there, it's really, 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 really hard to do from that specific position. And so, I felt like in the Lujan match, he hunted for that multiple times.
Yeah, almost like he was going to the well one too many times. It's like, hey, you got to switch things up. Obviously, you don't have the answer in that position, so you probably need to go to something else or start looking at something else. But he seemed just kind of tied and committed into that single position.
What about and then Lujan hit Womack with some of his own medicine and standing Peterson him in the second period. I thought that was pretty funny.
Because pretty sweet.
He had a power. Lujan put some pop into it too. He really stepped behind, popped him through, looked great.
That was feet to back right there.
Yep, and then he hit Paisted and half Nelson the head, and Lou Womack was able to get off his back. But really good performance by Taylor Lujan. Another guy who I think he's ranked 8th right now. Yep, ranked 8th. Kind of with I don't know, maybe on the outside looking in, I would say, or he hasn't beaten any of those top guys to this point. And we talked about last week how tough, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, how tough this top tier at 174 is. So who knows? Maybe he can move there. Go ahead.
And Lujan, he was what? Was he in the All-American round last year?
Yes. Yep. He was round 12 last year.
Yeah.
So who knows? He can probably sneak in this year. And then so now this Foster Dean, Drew Foster came out and got 2 pretty quick takedowns on Max Dean, but Max Dean just kept chopping away and wins the match in the third period. Nothing too unique or sneaky about this. I just thought it was good, solid wrestling by Max Dean.
Yeah, I thought, Dean is not a guy that's going to, he's similar to his brother. He's built like a freight train. He's a brick house. He doesn't have any obvious, skill sets that blow you away, but he's one of those other guys that's just very, very solid in all 3 positions. And I think this was another rematch of, I think they wrestled in the All-American round at the NCAA tournament last year, right?
I think you are correct. I can look that up to make sure. But yeah, so right now they're ranked number. Let's see, Max Dean. Yeah, I think so because Foster took 7th and Max Dean took 8th. So yeah, so Dean lost to him last year in the 7th place or in the 7th 8th place match. These guys are ranked 5th and 6th. We're going to talk about Taylor Venz in a minute, who's been struggling. He's 5th, so I think we're going to see Max Dean go all the way up to ranked 5th. And if either of these guys, if Foster or Dean, if they snuck past an Emery Parker or Shakur, I wouldn't be overly shocked. So I think these 2 can push into the upper realm of this weight class for sure by second semester.
Yeah, outside of the obvious, I think Miles Martin, we talked about this yesterday or previously. I think he's definitely separated himself, not only from his performances in the 3 previous years, but the level that Miles Martin is competing on so far this season, he seems like the obvious choice at 184. But I think with Dean and Foster and everybody else, I think it's anybody's game to potentially face off against Miles Martin in the NCAA finals. But the one thing I was surprised about, you made mention of this, is Foster. Those first 2 takedowns were quick and powerful.
Yeah, easy almost.
I've not seen many guys get through Dean that quickly on a finish. That's usually where you hit that brick wall. He's such a force with his defense. When you penetrate, that's usually where the wrestling begins. But Foster was able to run through him pretty quickly on those 2 takedowns. Dean wrested control, the remainder of the match, but he did get a little sloppy there at the end. Did you watch the end of the match?
I watched these yesterday morning. I'm blanking on what happened right at the end.
Well, Foster escaped and then reattacked with short time.
Yes. And he was sitting on his butt wrapped over the top, like Oliver Stieber type position. Yeah.
And it's like Dean just had checked out for a second there. It's like the match is over, but it wasn't. But on review, they didn't award the takedown.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't think it was a takedown, but yeah, now that you say that, I do recall that. And I don't know what Mac's team was thinking at all on that. So I know you wanted to talk about the Cornell going to make the second semester push. They're going to get John J. Chavez back. I don't think they're getting Ben Darmstadt back, which I know that hurts him. I know that would be big points for them.
That would be big points, but they actually have Ben Hannes, who's been wrestling great, was actually beating, I believe he was beating Colin Moore out at Las Vegas, and I believe he got a concussion, and that's why he wasn't in the match. He's still in concussion protocol.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not Darmstadt, but I think Ben Hannes, I mean, he's just steadily, he's been that utility guy at 97 in heavyweight.
He was heavyweight last year.
Cornell. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's more of a natural 97 pounder, but he is big. I would say the guy's like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
He's got a big frame, a similar frame to Darmstadt, probably a little bit more filled out than Darmstadt is. But Ben Hannes, he's a guy that's he's been like those Cornell guys, similar to those Missouri guys. Mm-hmm. And they continually get better year after year after year. Hannes wasn't a big, huge recruit coming out of high school. He's an upstate New York guy, but he's had a very good career. I believe he's been to the NCAA tournament once or twice. But he's a guy that I really believe is going to be on the podium by the end of the year.
You think Ben Hannes is going to be on the podium in 97?
For sure.
I'll bet you push-ups on that one.
We got another 50. Let's double down. I think we bet 50 push-ups a couple weeks ago. We'll double down.
What do we bet on? Because I don't always remember what I bet on. So, Matt, you're going to have to keep a list for us or something. We'll make bet. I'm betting 50 on that one for sure.
Okay, so first bet was I bet that Micah Jordan wouldn't get turned by Ashton.
If Ashton gets on top. I do recall that.
With the caveat, Ashnault has to get on top again.
Okay.
But that was the first bet. Bet number 2 is Ben Hannes on the award stand.
You know what? I'm so confident in that one, Matt. I'm going to give you 2-1. If you win that one, I'll do 100 push-ups.
Okay. I'll take it.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I really think a lot of this, kid. I really think, especially what Cornell is able to do. Like I said, I really believe in how Cornell peaks their guys, how they actually, I think Rob Cole does a great job of really balancing the first half of the semester as far as he doesn't push guys out too much. Sometimes he doesn't even get them down to weight. You know, I mean, I think Rob's come up with a good system about how to get his guys ready for the end of the year. And I think he's going to have Hannes ready. I think he's going to have the rest of the team ready. And I mean, if you look at it, so say things hold true. Say Hannes is as good as I think he is. They've got John J. Chavez coming back at 165. Yep. And then if you go up from the bottom up, you know, if
Vito's a big if. Vito's a big if.
He's a big if. I mean, it's really going to be a matter of how disciplined, how mature he is. And that's the big thing, right? With a young kid cutting down a weight class that he hasn't seen since high school. This is going to be a case with how mature is the kid to make the right decisions for the next 3 months. And if he can do that and he continues to progress well, I think he's not just in the hunt to get on the podium. I think he has the potential to reach the upper echelon of the podium at 133. You know, Chaz Tucker, I think is going to do very, very well.
Not at that weight. He ain't all American.
Not that weight.
That weight is stacked. I mean, the one thing that makes me slightly nervous on the Ben Hannes bet is like if it was 74 or 33, one of those really deep weights, I would say I'll give you 10-1. But 97 does have some weak spots, so I do see that, you know, a few places where he could potentially slip in there in All-American. So I wasn't 1,000% confident. Otherwise, I would have made it better odds for you.
Yeah. So then you gotta think Yianni. Yianni's in there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as tough as 41 is, I mean, he didn't show any slippage.
No, he's the favorite for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, Cornell could be making moves come second semester for sure. Hey, you want me to tell you a stupid statistic? You just made
Yes.
me think about this because you mentioned Missouri. I heard that Missouri has 8 starters from Missouri. That's damn good, isn't it?
Really?
Yeah. Well,
You don't think it. You don't think of that, right?
well, but I've said this so many. I've watched the state of Missouri from a high school level get better and better and better since Brian Smith. Brian Smith made the whole damn state get better. I mean, it's not just the Missouri Tigers in Columbia, Missouri. It's everybody. But you know what's funny now,
So,
Matt? Listen how crazy this is. They have now that Muller and Jacques got pulled out of redshirt because Jacques was the best at 57, and they Muller at 49 because Leaf got hurt. There's a small Catholic school in Columbia, Missouri, and they're 41, 49, 57 are all from the same school. Small Catholic
that's
school.
crazy.
How crazy! That is like totally insane. Like, what are the chances of that?
No, the odds on that. That's almost like what is it? That a Duke with the fine silvers? There's like 4 of them in the lineup. It's just insane. So where is this high school at?
It's actually it wasn't even in existence when I lived in Columbia, Missouri. So it's called Father Tolton Catholic. I believe it started in 2009. And actually, one of my college teammates is the coach there, James Williamson.
Okay.
But yeah, so they have 3 starters in the Missouri lineup right now. I think that's like I was just like laughing at that, how crazy that is. And then when you think of I mean Colby Smith at 25, he's a Missouri kid. 33 Ernesti's a Park Hill kid. Ironman, Jacques and Mahler, they're all Father Tolton kids. Flynn at 65, he's from St. Louis. Daniel Lewis is from Blue Springs. 84, 97, they're kind of bouncing around, but 84 is either Marriott, who he's from Park Hill, or Wisman, who's from Virginia. So it depends there. And then 97, they've been bouncing around a lot. But then heavyweight is Elam, and he's from Staley. So really, if you went Marriott, and then you get, instead of Wisman, which I don't know who's going to end up being the starter at that weight class, you're going to have 9 out of 10 from Missouri. That's like totally insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have said that, I mean, you could probably arguably say who has the most homegrown starters, being grown up, born in the state, wrestling in the state. I don't know of another school that could state that fact, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you think of the top ones, Iowa, I think I have to line up from Pennsylvania.
From
Penn State doesn't. Yeah. I mean, you'd think Penn State would be one of the states that could stay in state, but they're not even close. They're from all over.
I think they only have maybe 5 guys.
No, and probably not even because you got Bravo Young, Arizona, Nick Lee's Indiana, Bergey's from Minnesota, Nolf PA, Chenzo PA, Hall from Minnesota, Shakur from New York, Nickel from Texas, and Kassar's from where the hell's Kassar from? I don't even know.
New Jersey.
New Jersey. So yeah, almost nobody. 2 people.
That's amazing.
That's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would, you know what? One that I would venture to guess that's a good team. I would venture to guess Oklahoma State has quite a bit of Oklahoma starters, but I haven't looked. So that's just like off the top of my head. I know they get a lot of Oklahoma kids. Fix, Cade Brock, Caden Gefeller, obviously all Oklahoma kids. I don't know who the rest are.
Joe Smith, White. Is
White? Oh, I don't think White. I think White's a Kansas kid.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. Sorry, I got us off track with my ADHD. I was actually hoping the kid from my club would be start at 97 from position, but he's got some injury issues, so he is out. Okay, so let's get last 2 things we want to talk about before we wrap today. NC State, Nebraska, and UNC, Nebraska. Some really good matches in these duels. And, I think besides Berger, it just feels to me like Nebraska's struggling this year. Venz takes 2 more losses. He hasn't looked right all year. He's found ways to win, like in the Bonacorsi match where he was getting his butt kicked and got the pin. In an evening against Wisconsin, he was losing against Mason Reinhart and got a 6-point move. But I feel like he was so much more solid as a freshman. And then obviously the Chad Red, he loses to AC Headley, another guy who's been having struggles this year. What do you make of that?
So, I don't know. I mean, the first 6 weeks of the season, I've been the first. I've been the one to jump out front and say, "Hey, pump the brakes a little bit. It's early on." But is it now time to actually start questioning? Is there some trouble going on at Nebraska? I mean, because you can't just excuse it away week after week after week, and it's not just one individual guy. It seems like there's multiple guys in the Nebraska lineup that have performed in the past, have been on the podium in the past, and they haven't hit their stride yet. And not just hit their stride, but they're, I guess with Benz, I mean, it's not like he was losing to a slouch. I mean, he lost to Nick Reenan.
Well, he also lost to Chip Ness, who, I guess Chip Ness is ranked like 12th, so I guess he's not bad. I kind of thought Chip Ness was overrated a little bit. So
yeah, and the same thing with Red with Red losing to Headley. Headley's a good kid. He was a top.
Headley's not ranked, is he?
But
I don't think
so.
Let me look. I don't think Headley's ranked. Headley is not ranked, but I guess Chad Red did beat Jamal Morris, who's ranked 15. So I guess he gets one good win on the weekend, despite the fact that he loses to AC Headley, who's not ranked.
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of like, I guess they're losing matches that you would think that they would win, even though they're against ranked guys. They're against ranked guys that you would just think, based upon their past history, that these are matches they're probably going to win.
Yeah,
they're probably going to be scraps, but you would think that they would come out on top. So I guess we'll find out. I mean, the Big Ten season's a couple weeks away, so we'll definitely find out. At the beginning of the year, if some of these struggles, are real or an aberration.
Hey, you know who I really like? And I don't think we've talked about him yet this year. Austin O'Connor from UNC. I was just looking through these results. Man, I think he's going to do really well. I know that that upper echelon at 49 is really is tough when you go Kolodzik, Ashnell, Jordan. I feel like
you think he's in. You think he's in?
I don't think he is. I think you go below. I think he could finish anywhere below that. Is that?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I've been really impressed when I've watched him. And then I think the other thing that we need to talk about in these two duels is Hayden Hidlay loses his second. So Hayden Hidlay didn't lose a match last year until the national finals against Jason Nolf, totally undefeated, and now he's taken his second loss. Obviously, both of them against really good people, but this time he loses to Tyler Berger on 2 third-period takedowns. And do we say, what's up with Hayden Hidlay? Do we get, I know last time we talked about the fact that he had just wrestled at the U23s, and that was his first time back in a folk style match. But yeah, what do you think about that?
Okay, so a couple thoughts. And this doesn't have anything to do with freestyle. I definitely think there's a freestyle hangover going on. I think he immersed himself so much in preparations for the World Championships that there is going to be a period of transition before you find your folk style groove. But off the top of my head, and I don't want to take away from Hidley's run last year, but did he see many of the top guys throughout the year last year, or was the first time that he touched these guys was at the NCAA tournament?
I would have to. Well, let me look. 2018. I'm gonna look back to the brackets, and I'll hope wrestling.
Because I haven't looked back, and I don't want to sound uninformed in my comments, but.
All right, I'm gonna look it up right now. So, well, obviously he didn't wrestle Nolf, and right. I know he didn't wrestle Kemmerer. But I mean, even if you look at the NCAA tournament, Matt, he kicked freaking Pantalio's butt in the semis, 10-2. He did have a close match with Berger, 3-2 in the quarters. So when you look at number 2, LaValle, I don't believe he wrestled Joey LaValle during the season. I could be wrong. Micah, I'm not sure. Noel Shield, I think he beat Josh Shields. I'm pretty sure about that. I don't know. I mean, Larry Early.
So I don't know, Ben. I guess the thought that I was having was maybe there's more familiarity. People have touched him. They've scouted him a lot more. There's more of a sample size out there. And, I love Hidley. I love the way he wrestles. I love his pace. I love his intensity. But he's a guy that kind of, he knows what he does very, very well. And he does the things that he does.
What do you say? His underhook?
Yes.
Okay.
And so, outside of his underhook, I don't know how much diversity he has in his other attacks, just because he is so good. I mean, when you've got an underhook that good, like, you keep going to the well until they say they can beat it, right?
Yeah.
So I've never seen Hidley pushed to a point where he actually opens up and diversifies his attacks. So
okay, I looked at Matt.
Maybe we're going to see more than that.
I got the bracket stuff from the ACCs last year. He actually, in the semis, he beat Talib Rahmani, he's also good. He beat him in sudden victory, and in the finals, he beat Mitch Feinsilver 3-2. So I guess in that instance, it's not like he's blowing people out of the water here. He's got a couple tough matches, and then we looked at his NCAA bracket. He had a couple tough matches early going there. So maybe you're right on the fact that people are scouting him now. They know how to shut down his underhook, and that was his main source of offense. And now he's gonna have to reinvent himself to have the same success he did last year.
Yeah, because he's a guy. I mean, I love the way he wrestles. I love his intensity, his style, but he's not a guy that it looks like points just come easily to him.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
He's really got to go out and earn his points. And maybe some of these guys are just, with their game plan, with their execution plan, they're just making it a little tougher on him.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have to dig in a little deeper, maybe figure out a couple tweaks, to his setups to open up his attacks more freely. But yeah, I mean, I'm not concerned by this. Obviously, Berger's one of the top guys in the country, and he's going to be one of those guys that you probably is in the conversation to face Nolf in the finals. But I don't think that changes for Hidley at all. I think Hidley's one of those guys as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, I think for me, I say this a lot. Hayden Hidley doesn't have to change, but what changes when you make the NCAA finals or place really high is people's perception of you. They start studying you, they start seeing what you're doing, and all of a sudden you have 20 of the best wrestling minds in the country, the coaches, looking at you and figuring out how to beat you. And so that you need to continue to evolve. Obviously, we can name a whole bunch of guys over the course of time who had great freshman years, and then that was their best year ever, right? And they did make
And I hate that term. I hate the sophomore slump. I mean, it's
true though, man. It's so true. It's so true.
But a slump to me thinks like, for me is in my head, I think a guy taking a foot off his gas.
No, but it doesn't have to be. Why? I mean, a slump is just not having as good a results as you used to have, and that could come from a lot of reasons. And I think one of those reasons is that you have 20 of the best wrestling minds looking at you. Any coach who has someone who's ranked anywhere close to you is watching you and saying, "Okay, what does this kid do well? What can I do to stop it? And how can I beat him?" And that, man.
But that's not a slump.
Bull crap! It's not a slump. It is a slump.
No, that's guys just coming at you more prepared.
Which is going to make you have a slump. Okay, Matt. Let me ask you this question.
I guarantee Hidley is preparing as hard as he possibly can.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If his results aren't the same, it's a slump. Let me ask you this, Matt. Let me ask you this. If I got to say no one's ever saw any film of you, and you have one or two really good moves, and you get to wrestle a season, then all of a sudden everyone has film on you, and they get to watch you and see exactly what you do. Are you going to have as good results or worse results?
Well, probably not initially, but then I guess that's what we're going to see with Hidley here. Is he going to make this jump that we need him to make? Obviously, guys are more prepared. There's more eyes on him. They're scouting him more. So is he going to? I
don't think it's a jump. I don't think it's a jump. I think it's a shift, right? You have to make a shift. And so now if you have one or two really good moves and everyone knows that and they're able to shut them down, it's a change. And then once in a while, Matt, you get someone who's an anomaly. And that's kind of why I'm so fascinated by Spencer Lee. Like, everybody knows Spencer Lee's going to pull your wrist back, and somehow he's still able to do it. I don't freaking know how, Matt. He's got to have freakish level strength. I don't know how he does it, but
he's got to.
But usually when people watch you and people know what's coming, then they can stop it.
So yeah, so to Hidley then, it's, I guess his underhook isn't as unstoppable as I thought it was.
Not when everyone knows it's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to have to figure out how to make, he's either going to have to do one of a few things, right? He's going to have to develop other offense. He's going to have to find more unique ways to get to his underhook, or he's going to have to find ways to force people to give him the underhook that he didn't think of before. So, I mean,
and I think he will. I mean, from what I know about the kid, his work ethic, his determination, the coaches he has around him with Pat Publizio, Adam Hall, Donnie Vincent. I mean, those guys, they'll make the necessary adjustments, and it'll be interesting to see, the next half of the year for Hidley, because I think he's right in the mix.
I love that you don't believe in slumps. That's funny. I like that. All right, that's all.
I gotta think about this one a little bit more. I gotta articulate. We gotta revisit the sophomore slump.
I love it. I love it. All right, I gotta run, Matt. You have a great day. So next week will be our Christmas week. We're only gonna do one show because we're gonna talk about Reno, and then after that we are gonna have so much wrestling because we're gonna have the Midlands. We're gonna have the Scuffle. So I don't know what our broadcast. We're gonna do a whole bunch of shows. I know that much. So that's it. I'll talk to you next week, Matt.
All right, Ben. Have a good one.
See ya.